forensic investigations. The company is made up of criminologists, certified fraud examiners, attorneys and accountants. And we carry out in-depth forensic investigations into fraud, mostly in the corporate sector, Chairman.
O'Sullivan has also requested that the committee not interrogate him until late into the night because of his health issues. He has asked that his testimony today and tomorrow not drag on beyond 7 p.m. At the same time, Ekurhuleni Municipality's suspended head of legal, Kemi Behari, has conceded to making false statements to the Madlanga Commission. Behari initially submitted a statement to the Commission saying the municipality never intended to challenge the findings of police watchdog IPID regarding its investigation into the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department's Deputy Chief, Julius Mkhwanazi. In 2023, IPID found Mkhwanazi entered the municipality into an irregular contract with companies linked to suspected crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala. Tabiso Koba reports.
One of the main allegations leveled against Ekurhuleni's suspended head of legal, Kemi Behari, is that he was part of a clique of senior municipal officials who protected EMPD's deputy chief, Julius Mkhwanazi, from accountability. Following IPID's damning report on Mkhwanazi, Behari drafted a response letter to the entity which disputed its findings of fraud and corruption against the senior officer. In a statement submitted to the Madlanga Commission, Behari says he never intended to send the draft letter to IPID and it was an internal document. However, the Commission's evidence leader, Lee Siegels Ncube, presented an email trail this morning showing Behari sent the letter to the MMC for Community Safety to attach their letterhead, sign and send it to IPID.
Now, let me make the concession, say, okay, it was contrary to that. If it's false, in terms of what I said in 184, I accept that.
And then paragraph 185 of your statement, the allegation that the draft represented an official stance by the city is incorrect. It isn't incorrect. That was a position that was the official stance by the city because it gets sent to the MMC to put on her letterhead, to sign and to send to IPID. That must be their official position.
I agree.
The MMC for Community Safety at the time, Sizakele Masuku, never forwarded the draft letter to IPID. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
To this now, Gauteng Education MEC Matume Chilwane is meeting with scholar transport operators to find a solution to an ongoing payment dispute. Some drivers in the province have halted their operations after the department failed to pay their invoices. The impasse has left thousands of children in the lurch for the past 2 weeks, with buses to some schools not operating at all. Following today's meeting, the department will brief the media to clarify the issue and unpack steps to be taken. Department spokesperson Steve Mabona.
This meeting will pave a way forward in resolving the impasse between the service providers and the department. Subsequently, MEC will then brief the public on the developments arising from the ongoing engagements and measures being implemented so that we ensure that there is no interruption on learner access to education in Gauteng.
To this now, President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to meet with young people at a presidential youth roundtable in Khayelitsha in Cape Town today. The National Youth Development Agency is hosting the engagement ahead of the State of the Nation address this week. The event is an opportunity for young South Africans to share their views as well as challenges directly with the President and members of his executive. Ntutuzelo Nene has more.
Today's discussions will focus on the life of a young South African. Khayelitsha youth will have the President's ear to share their opinions, ideas and realities ahead of the annual State of the Nation address in Cape Town on Thursday. High unemployment, poor quality education, high crime rate, substance abuse and significant mental health struggles are among the topics on their agenda. South Africa's youth unemployment remains critical, with the 15 to 24 age group facing a 58.5% jobless rate and the demographic age 25 to 34 is at 38.4%. Several ministers are expected to participate in these discussions to address matters related to their respective portfolios. Ntutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News in Cape Town.
And a Russian attack has damaged an energy facility in the Ukraine's southern Black Sea region of Odessa. Power company DTEK says the damage is extensive and repairs will take a long time to restore the equipment to working order. Moscow has intensified its attacks on the Ukrainian power grid and other energy infrastructure since October last year, leaving millions without power and heating in freezing temperatures. Gold is trading at $5,052.76 an ounce. The rand is at 15.89 to the dollar, 21.73 to the pound, 18.94 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $69.04 a barrel.
Heading into the Joburg CBD, traffic remains sluggish. This is in the Amalgam area on Main Reef Road between Nasrec and the M2. There's also slow-moving traffic in the mother city on the elevated freeway heading into the Cape Town CBD.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 29 and 32 degrees, while Cape Town is partly cloudy with fresh southeasterly winds at a high of 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Forensic analyst Paul O'Sullivan has taken the hot seat before Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations of police corruption.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan testifies at the ad hoc committee under tight security. Thabo Bester brings an urgent application to move prisons. Johannesburg Water employees on an unprotected strike. Harith buys fly Safair, and JMPD denies involvement in Kolani Kumalo's drug operation. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Busy news day today. We've got the MEC meeting with Scholar Transport operators today as well, a briefing at 1:30 today. Can you believe that the Joburg Water employees are on strike? Like, how crazy is that? They're not doing anything anyway because there's no water. So we'll try and get an update from Joburg Water. It's an unprotected strike by some members. I mean, over bonuses of all things. But we'll speak to Joburg Water about that. I see a number of suburbs still without water. Melville, Parkhurst now being affected as well. Let me know how it's going for you. Send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702, 072 567 1567. A big focus today on Parliament, the ad hoc committee finally hearing the testimony of Paul O'Sullivan. You would have heard Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF, saying he is not coming to 702 to do an interview with Clement Manyetela because he wants to be at that hearing, and he's in full stride at the moment. So let's go in and take a listen there.
Smells like supremacy. And we can't sit here with our clear conscience and allow it to proceed like that. We need to be advised from evidence leaders' point of view. I may not know the law. In a situation like this, what do we do? Where this paragraph in a signed affidavit is very problematic. He tells us from right at the beginning, you are not going to ask me anything about 1990. Even if you try, we can sit here the whole day. I want to answer that. And then we say, let's proceed. That is a very disrespectful statement, which must not be accepted by this honorable house. Thanks, Chair.
Advocate Aransa.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, in relation to no witness that has appeared before this honorable committee, including Mr. O'Sullivan, are we bound by what a witness says in his or her affidavit that they place before the committee? In fact, I've already asked several questions which do not appear on the statement, and where Honorable Mates had said, where's the reference to it in the statement? So we are not bound by the four corners. As evidence leaders, we consult with a witness, all the witnesses thus far. Some of them insist that they want certain things said in an affidavit or removed from an affidavit. We exchange drafts with them. And we settle the affidavit not on the basis that this is a document that's been agreed. Otherwise, you don't need us. You can just place the affidavit before the Honourable Committee and the witness can read it and they can ask him questions. We place it before the committee to facilitate the leading of evidence, but in many instances, in some instances where I've been criticized, we go out of the affidavit because we tell the witnesses in consultation, including Mr. O'Sullivan, that we will put to you contrary versions of other witnesses or other information or other evidence that we have gathered, and we will ask you about that. And again, it's not for them to agree that that's the case or not. That is the nature of them giving evidence. The purpose of putting a written affidavit before the Honourable Committee is to facilitate the interaction with the witness. What is important is the oral evidence given before the committee. I'm glad Honourable Madema raised the issue of what is contained in paragraph 3, because I was going to ask Mr. O'Sullivan, if it's, one can understand, and hopefully we all understand, that issues of safety and security, especially regarding your family and your personal security, all of us would be concerned about that. But there seems to me no reason why we cannot ask Mr. O'Sullivan about his life, his career, his qualifications preceding 1990. Especially in the context of a question I've already asked him, which is not in his affidavit, is there's an allegation that you are funded by foreign agents. Are you a foreign agent? That's what people are curious about. And because of his role in crime fighting, crime prevention for some 36 years, he's become a prominent figure in South Africa. And it's entirely relevant that people want to know, where do you actually come from? And what have you done before you came to South Africa?
Okay.
So, with your leave, I want to ask him that, and if he doesn't want to answer me, then I'm sure honourable members will ask him when their turn comes to ask him questions.
I want you to proceed with the leading of oral evidence, and we proceed by the decision that that paragraph does not belong here. We don't accept it.
So that is proceedings at the ad hoc committee. Norman Arendse, SC, the evidence leader there, responding to a concern raised by the EFF Commander-in-Chief, that is what it's called, Julius Malema, about a paragraph in Paul O'Sullivan's affidavit. Always some questions around the history around Paul O'Sullivan. We'll delve into that as well. Babalo and Denze, EWN parliamentary reporter, has been following proceedings all day for us. Babalo, good afternoon to you. Just give us some context to where we are with that exchange.
Yes, indeed, Mandy. This exchange really stems from paragraph 3 in Paul O'Sullivan's signed affidavit, where he states that, anything that has happened before or that happened overseas prior to 1990, he can't answer to that. He says at the outset, for the reasons of personal and family security, I will not engage in discussions concerning background, education, business interests in South Africa or overseas prior to 1990. But now the issue the committee has with this paragraph, Mandy, is that, he further states further down in his affidavit, things that happened in 1978, where he was, commended by, Scotland Yard for some anti-crime thing that he did. And he also mentions, 1989, his investment portfolios, which happened before 1990. So he's almost contradicting that paragraph 3 statement, because he goes on, to talk about his background later on in his statement. It's about things that happened in 1985. And, so members are not happy with this. Your chairperson, you might have heard it in the sound you were playing before you came to me, where he says they don't accept this paragraph 3. And he's urging Norman Arendse to continue leading the evidence. But the committee really is not happy with this paragraph 3. But he's just to give some more context on this affidavit, Mandy. It's quite an extensive one. It has a number of chapters where he will talk about his investigative work into the South African police and the NPA. He talks about Mkwanazi's alleged role in kidnap and torture. He also has a section where he'll be speaking about, criminal activity within the PKTT, as well as outlandish lies, he calls them, by Cedric Gabinde and Homozo Pahlane, who've already given evidence to the portfolio committee. But we are yet to get to these interesting parts. They're still, trying to find a way to get past asking some personal questions to O'Sullivan, because Norman Aronson says he is a public figure, and people will definitely be interested to know what he did prior to 1990. So that's where we are currently, Mandy, but we will be moving on.
But there were some questions around his personal security and who was in the room with him.
Yes, there were questions around his personal security. He did have, some members were quite surprised to hear that he had, an escort from the airport.
I think we've lost the line to Babalo there, unfortunately. But yeah, I was watching earlier and there was an escort. There is somebody who's accompanying him. There was a dry run as well. Parliament security is also ensuring that he is safe. And that testimony, of course, coming after objections from Paul O'Sullivan. They didn't want to actually testify in person. Well, what are we expecting from Paul O'Sullivan today? We know that he's been very vocal against Mkwanazi and against the National Police Commissioner, Oren Singh, EWN reporter, joining us to put this in context now. Oren, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Where does Paul O'Sullivan fit in, and why is this testimony so anticipated?
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, I think, with Paul O'Sullivan's testimony, it's going to be quite damning, if anything, depending on how the parliamentarians actually structure their questions to him, because I do think he can give crucial evidence. We know from his early days in being a police officer and what happened with him, the fallout between him and Jackie Selebi, which resulted in him sort of launching a probe into Selebi, which spanned almost a decade and resulted in Selebi's being arrested and convicted at a latter part. But I think, Paul O'Sullivan, like you said, has been quite vocal about Fani Masimola, Dumisani Kumalo, and Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi around what he believes them being, close allies, essentially in SAPS's structure, and that they seem to be covering up a lot of things that are happening around specifically the Crime Intelligence Fund. So, essentially, we're looking forward to seeing what Paul O'Sullivan has to say, and also if he can back up a lot of the allegations that he's put out. We know that he has referred to the Inspector General of Intelligence's report. In that report, the Inspector General of Intelligence found that Fani Masimola should undergo a disciplinary hearing related to the acquiring of this hotel for crime intelligence that was in excess of 120 million. So Paul O'Sullivan going to be in Parliament currently, and we're just waiting to see some of the what he's got to say about what's happened in recent.
Oren, thank you very much. Oren Singh, EWN reporter. So Paul O'Sullivan, very much a lone voice in opposing Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and what he's been saying. So it's going to be really interesting to see that testimony and hear that testimony today. He argued that Mkhwanazi was forced to change the narrative during his briefing to divert attention away from the impending arrest of Fani Masimola and possibly himself as well. So this is the factionalization of the police that we're seeing coming to the fore. And Paul O'Sullivan vocal against Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. So that's going to be really interesting today.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Afternoon, Mandy. The way Julius Malema likes to remind people how they are being disrespectful, when he himself, he doesn't even have a single fiber of respect to other people. It's really shocking. And kudos to Paul O'Sullivan for not bowing down to him. He likes to grandstand, hence he cancelled everything just to be there, because he's an attention-seeking politician. He doesn't respect anybody, so why must people respect him?
Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The Checkers extravaganza is now on. Save extra on new deals every week. Like Parmalat Everfresh Long Life Milk, a 1 litre 6-pack for $94.99. Clover Cheddar Gouda or Tusses Cheese 800 grams, any two for 199 Rand. And Nescafe Classic Instant Coffee 200 grams, two for 199 Rand. Valid until 15 February 2026. Only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
On average, you'll spend 83,200 hours working. That's 3,466 days. 20% of that time will be spent in meetings that should have been emails. 10% spent aligning on the misalignment the previous meeting caused. And the rest of the time, waiting for your laptop to update so you can resend that extremely urgent presentation due yesterday because your boss forgot to download it 2 weeks ago. And now, the link has expired. Oh. Life taxes you, so invest tax-free from as little as 250 Rand per month.
Coronation. Trust is earned. Coronation is an authorized FSP.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:21 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. Well, if you've been watching the ad hoc committee and the Madlanga Commission as well, the one takeaway certainly, I think, has been how necessary it is to depoliticize law enforcement in South Africa and how the police have really been used to settle political scores. An interesting piece today from Karen Moore in News 24 saying that the apartheid justice system carried out and covered up brutal extrajudicial crimes to protect a racist state. And now there is overwhelming evidence that the democratically elected ANC has used the police to further party interests. Well, let's unpack this now with Karen Moore, legal journalist at News 24. Karen, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time today. You use various examples to make your case in which you say that there is a widespread pathology of politicized policing that has devastating implications to the justice system. How is that?
Well, I mean, we heard in the Zondo Commission or the events around the Zondo Commission about the arrest, the completely baseless and absolutely unlawful arrest of Malusi Gigaba's then wife, Norma Nongoma. And her contestation in that whole situation was that she'd been arrested by the Hawks and kept in a cell overnight in order to access her devices and to prevent her from bringing quite relevant information and evidence to the state capture inquiry. And to this day, I mean, that arrest was ruled as unlawful by a court of law, but there's no explanation as to why the Hawks would have needed to get involved in what was arguably a crimen injuria domestic matter between Gigaba and his, growingly estranged wife. Then, of course, in Madlanga, we hear this extraordinary testimony about Musa Tlawula, of course, who is a blogger who clearly got on the wrong side of Fikile and Bulula, the ANC Secretary General, his wife, and that case is then utilized as a basis for Kat Matlala then to access an arrest warrant from, allegedly on the version of Witness F, from Shadrach Sabir so he can effect the arrest of a blogger who has been writing uncharitable or unflattering things about him. And of course, we know what happened with Anton Taylor, the influencer who made a satirical video about Senzo Mgunu and then has his home raided by the Hawks. These are extraordinary things to happen in a functional democracy, Mandy, but they are even more extraordinary when one considers the fact that our crime rate is so abysmally high, that ordinary South Africans are dealing with violent crime, extraordinary murder rates, extraordinary rape rates, extraordinary levels of violent crime, robbery, etc. And this is what the police service is doing.
And really what we hope to achieve, and something I speak about so often, is a police and justice system that genuinely cares about all the citizens, not just those who have political power.
Absolutely. And the thing is what this evidence has shown us is that high-ranking levels of the police service have effectively been utilized either by alleged criminal elements, whether that's Kat Matlala, or by senior ANC politicians to settle their personal scores or to deal with issues that are embarrassing to them. And that goes against the interests of a functional democracy, where the basic premise of our constitution is that we are all, Mandy, equal before the law. And it cannot be that the justice system is therefore available to be abused by well-resourced, politically powerful litigants in order for them to either evade justice or to settle political scores. That is simply not at the heart of the constitutional democracy that so many anti-apartheid activists fought and died to achieve.
Karen, thank you very much. Karen Morn, legal journalist at News 24. I absolutely agree on that point, that we need to depoliticize the police. That's how we got to this point. And if there's one takeaway from Madlanga and the ad hoc committee, that is it.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays, 12 to 1 p.m.
In the Pretoria High Court, an urgent application by convicted killer and rapist Thabo Bester to be moved from the country's only super maximum correctional facility. It sounds crazy on the face of it. Like, this guy escaped, right? He literally escaped and fled the country from the Mangaung Correctional Centre. How could he possibly have a right to say that he doesn't want to be in the tighter security facility? Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, on this one for us. Khomotso, what is Thabo Bester basing his case on?
Well, Mandy, Thabo Bester's lawyers haven't had an opportunity just yet to get into the merits of their case. They've been arguing on urgency, and the court has asked them to address the urgency issue because of the really tight timelines that we've seen in this matter coming to court. I mean, once Bester's lawyers learned about his move to eBongweni last week, they then filed their papers, and Correctional Services was only given a day to respond to file their answering papers. And the court has been asking about these truncated timelines, asking about this extreme urgency for Bester's lawyers and why they've moved in this way in getting their matter heard in court. And, during the arguments that was being heard or being made by Bester's lawyer, Advocate Mo'Afrika Wamaila, he then touched on what's at the heart of this case, and it's the fact that Thabo Bester, while he's at the eBongweni prison, cannot, or he says it is near impossible to consult with him while he's there. He's spoken about the stringent conditions. The tight security is one thing, but he's also gone into just how sometimes it's near impossible to hear each other. And while they are even speaking during consult or trying to consult, they've heard about how their calls can sometimes be heard during that consultation process. It's very similar to the arguments that we've heard from the lawyers of Vusmuzi Matala last week, who's also trying to leave the eBongweni prison. But he's also pointing out, Mandy, that they currently are preparing for the main trial in the Bloemfontein High Court. And they're saying the current conditions at eBongweni are not conducive for them to prepare for their trial. It's extremely difficult to even meet. It's 700 kilometers away, and that's about, he says, it would be 1,200 rand every 120,000 rand rather, every single consultation, because of the distance, because of the accommodation, and because of all the costs that come with it.
Where are they staying that they need 120,000 rand for every visit? What is the response from Correctional Services here?
Well, Correctional Services has only started now with the urgency argument, and we've heard from their lawyers that they don't believe that this matter is urgent or inherently urgent, as Thabo Bester's lawyers have argued. They are saying that the matter should have been filed on the normal urgent role and not the extreme urgency that they've approached it with. But also, they are challenging and defending this move to the eBongweni prison. You'll remember the Correctional Services had said that, that they make this decision based on a security assessment, and according to their security assessment, they have found that Bester should be moved to eBongweni. I do think that they will further clarify if there has been an incident that's led to the decision to move him to eBongweni. I think it's interesting, Mandy, because once Bester was captured while allegedly on the run in Tanzania, he was taken to the Kgosi maximum security facility, and he's been there for about 2 years. The question is, what has changed since he was incarcerated at Kgosi that has now necessitated his move to eBongweni, which is the country's only super maximum security prison?
Khomotso, thank you so much. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, covering that story. Thabo Bester bringing an urgent application. Keep in mind, of course, he did escape previously from the Mangaung Correctional Centre. So why shouldn't he be kept in the tightest security prison in the country? Well, he's busy making his argument on that. 12:30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. Forensic analyst Paul O'Sullivan has requested that Parliament's ad hoc committee not interrogate him late into the night because of his health issues. He has asked that his testimony today and tomorrow not drag on beyond 7 p.m. O'Sullivan is currently giving evidence in person before the ad hoc committee, which is investigating allegations of police corruption. His appearance follows weeks of delays after he asked to appear virtually due to safety concerns. Ekurhuleni's suspended head of legal, Kemi Bihari, has been accused of attempting to mislead police watchdog IPID. Bihari has been testifying before the Madlanga Commission on allegations that he was part of a clique of senior municipal officials who shielded Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi from accountability. And this is news just in this afternoon. An investment deal has been reached which will see infrastructure investment firm Harith move to acquire low-cost airline FlySafair. The proposed transaction announced today is still subject to approval by the Competition Commission and aviation regulators. Harith says the acquisition forms part of its broader push to strengthen transport and connectivity across Africa. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Mawande Mateza. There's live cricket on the go in the second of 3 matches at the T20 World Cup today. New Zealand, who are looking for their second win at the tournament, are taking on the United Arab Emirates, who are playing in their opener. The UAE side won the toss and chose to bat first, and at the moment they're on 119 for 1 after 14 overs. Earlier today, the Netherlands chased down the target of 157 to beat Namibia by 7 wickets. And then at 3:30 this afternoon, Pakistan will play the United States. In case you missed it, the Proteas got their campaign off to a winning start as they beat Canada by 57 runs yesterday. The Proteas women's team are also getting ready for their T20 World Cup in June. Their preparations will see them play Pakistan in the first of 3 internationals this evening. SA captain Laura Wolfart outlined what they're hoping to gain from the series.
Yeah, well, the World Cup's obviously massive for us this year. Any T20 game is awesome prep for that. Maybe trying out 1 or 2 combinations, but I think other than that, trying to play as strong a side as we can, trying to play as good as cricket as we can in a similar brand that we would like to play in that World Cup. Obviously, a couple of wins would be nice. A series win would be great heading into that. But yeah, just trying to play some good, brave cricket.
That match gets underway at 6 p.m. There's Premier League football to look forward to tonight as well. 4 matches take place. At 9:30, Chelsea host Leeds, Everton play Bournemouth, and Tottenham will be hoping for their first win in 8 matches this year when they take on Newcastle. And at 10:15, Manchester United are targeting a 5th straight win in the league when they play West Ham. Mawande Mateza, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading into the Joburg CBD, there's slow-moving traffic in the Amalgam area. This is on Main Reef Road between Nasrec and the M2. Also slow-moving traffic driving through the Sandton area heading towards Midrand. Expect some delays. M1 northbound between Greyston and Marlborough Drive. While in the Mother City, there's slow-moving traffic. N2 incoming, approaching the M5. Also look out for an accident scene in Brooklyn. This is at Section Road between Coburg and Cyril. This is causing some delays, and also expect some delays on the elevated freeway heading into the Cape Town CBD. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Dis-Chem Better Rewards program is here, and every time you shop and save, you're also giving back. Each time you swipe, not only are you rewarded, but a percentage of your purchase is donated to the Dis-Chem Foundation to support communities in need. So why wait? Sign up to become a Better Rewards member today and support with every swipe. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady on her way to work, listening to a love song on the radio. She's recreating the music video in her mind with herself as the leading lady. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a concert on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
From Robin Hills here. I've had a burst water pipe for 5 months now. No amount of phoning, calling, reporting will get Joburg Water to come fix it. To the best of my knowledge, they've been to my house twice. They dug a hole and they turned what was the equivalent of, say, 1.5 times garden hose pipe on full blast is now between 2.5, 3 times full blast, just running down the road. Needless to say, I've reported it countless times, but just no response. That's Joburg Water.
Hi, Mandy. Good afternoon. Mandy, the Joburg Water employees that are on strike on Veltevreden Street from Cresta heading towards the N1, or what changes into 14th Avenue on Veltevreden Street, right next to, I think it's Northcliffe Primary School. There is water gushing out in the liters and liters, in the hundreds of liters there. But now they are striking. And then they're going to complain, water is being wasted when leakages are not being fixed. Right at the corner of Northcliffe Primary School.
I don't know what to say. Like, I really just don't know what to say, because there's no explanation. There's no rational explanation for this. You have a bunch of suburbs, plenty of suburbs in Joburg where there's no water and people have no water, had no water for like 3 weeks. And then you've got the Joburg Water staff that are now on an unprotected strike. So we're going to speak to Joburg Water shortly about this to understand it. And then they're saying that one of the reasons that we have water shortages is because of the wastage, and then there's water being wasted by leaks that Joburg Water is not fixing. So it really doesn't make any sense. I understand your frustration. We will speak to Joburg Water in about 10 minutes or so. So keep listening to that. We'll try and get an understanding of where we are.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
South Africa's largest airline, flagship, is getting a new owner. Harith General Partners, one of the largest investors in African infrastructure, are set to take full ownership. That news coming out earlier today. So let's find out more about this with Kirby Gordon, who's the CMO of flagship. Kirby, I mean, I laugh every time because I always think, like, is Kirby Gordon a real guy? We know you're a real guy, but when you fly Safi, it's like, you know, I'm sure other people feel the same way.
I am real. Hi, Mandy. Very much a real person.
Sorry for the little detour, but it's something that pops into my head every time I have to interview you, like many people, I'm sure. Okay, so flagship is set to get new owners. Tell us about this this purchase by Harith General Partners.
Yeah, absolutely, Mandy. So it's a 100% purchase by, well, not Harith General Partners, it's Harith and some affiliate investors that are coming across to purchase the airline. It's something that's been in the works for a while. I think the existing investors, they created a great asset of value when they first invested in the airline in 2014. And as far back as 2019 already, there were some talks about a potential sale at the time to Airlink, which never proceeded. But the company has effectively, within the correct circles, been on the market for some time as they've sought this exit, and finally they found investors who make sense and who are have the appetite to actually acquire the airline.
The management of flagship, will that remain in place, or what will happen with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Harith have been very intentional around that. They are value investors, so they seek to find an asset that makes a lot of sense, and then to maintain the kind of status quo on it. So they're very much looking to maintain the brand and the sort of trajectory of the strategy, the nature of the low-cost airline that we run, the leadership team. So all of that is very much in place, and the view is to continue on that particular path that we're on, and obviously guide that process as it unfolds.
And you say in your statement that the transaction transaction follows a long-standing shareholder exit process at FlySafair that has been under consideration for several years. But importantly, that this investment reflects confidence in your operating model. So in terms of people who are going to be continuing to fly or have bought tickets for FlySafair, any changes at all that they can expect?
No, nothing at all, actually. And that's really sort of key to the message across the board, is this intention that, Harris have identified a company that they believe is well run and one that they want to maintain an investment in. And so the idea is to keep it going as it is. And I think, Mandy, just as an additional kind of note to that, I think one of the things that is very important to recognize in the bigger scene is that this is still very much subject to approvals by a number of regulators. So one can imagine that a deal of this magnitude will have to be before the Competition Commission, so they have to take a look at it. And then on the aviation specific side, we've obviously also got to get approval by the various aviation regulators, so the Licensing Council, Civil Aviation, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not a done deal just yet, but certainly for the time being, it's status quo, and in the long run, that's the intention that we've got out of Harris.
What kind of timeline are you looking at there?
It's hard to say at this stage. It is entirely dependent upon those regulators. Obviously, they've got work to do to maintain their statutory oversight. So, the best that we can kind of work with is just insight in terms of what deals of this nature have been like in the past. The parties are certainly hoping to conclude it before the end of the year, but it's completely dependent on the regulators at this stage.
Kirby, thank you very much. Kirby Gordon, CMO at FlySafair, speaking to us there about the purchase. So Harith Aviation, as it's Harith General Partners, a number of other investors as well through Harith Aviation, entering into a sale and purchase agreement to acquire FlySafair. Start the year right with We Buy Cars. Selling your vehicle, they'll come to you, handle everything and pay you instantly. Simply visit webuycars.co.za and complete the form to discover what they'll offer you. Need a new ride for the new year? Browse thousands of options online or at any We Buy Cars branch nationally. We Buy Cars. Buy or sell the simple way.
Building a life across borders starts with choices. Visas, a second passport, citizenship, your child's education abroad. And sometimes those choices can be overwhelming. For 30 years, Sable International has simplified global mobility, including cross-border tax, forex, and wealth management, helping you make the right choices with expertise and care. Build your future beyond borders. Visit us at sableinternational.com.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a nervous but excited first-time driver, waiting for the perfect gap to switch lanes. I can do this. The pressure. The Outsurance pointsman knows it's not just a car in traffic. It's a sense of freedom and independence on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
Hi, Mandy. Bernard here from Cape Town. I know exactly what to say about that water wastage. And sad to say it, but, well, not sad to say it, but, it's something that should have been done a while back. But please don't vote the ANC, people. And I hope people realize that.
Andy, let me tell you something. The government fears the day that humans learn to live off-grid, because that's the day we stop needing the government to begin with.
And that's counter like rational, that in a way, because that's how society functions, is that we pay taxes and we're supposed to get water and electricity. Well, a lot of people in Joburg not getting water and Midrand not getting water, and now news that there is a strike involving the South African Municipal Workers Union. It started on Friday last week. It is an unprotected strike, so no work, no pay. Let's speak now to Nondumiso Mabuza, who's the spokesperson for Joburg Water. Nondumiso, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. For clarity, tell us about the strike. Who exactly is on strike, and what is the current status?
Good afternoon, Mandy, your team, and the listeners, and thank you for the opportunity. The strike is involving SAMWU, the South African Municipal Workers Union.
So can you give us a sense of how many people are on strike, and is it protected?
It is unprotected, as we've indicated, and it involves all of SAMWU's members at Johannesburg Water specifically.
Okay, so
we're
just
looking
to give
at
us
over.
context,
We're looking at over. Yeah, we're looking at over 2,000 employees.
And is that a significant portion of your workforce?
It is a significant portion of our workforce that is impacting, obviously, negatively on service delivery. And with that in mind, we are currently trying to get contractors to come assist with service queries for all depots across the city.
And what is the reason for the strike if it's unprotected? What is their request or their demand?
The contention is on last year's performance management, in particular the performance moderation aspect of performance management. I can't dwell
so
much
bonuses,
into
basically. They want better bonuses.
Yes, they want better bonuses. I can't dwell much on the exact state of our conversation as we're currently engaging with SAMO.
Okay, so in short, they are on an unprotected strike because they want better bonuses. You're busy talking to them and you're trying to put contingency plans in place. What do those contingency plans look like?
We're looking for service providers to assist with your bursts, basically all services, your sewer, blockages, all services that we offer across all the regions in the city.
Do you have a contingency plan in place already, or are you now scrambling to try and find service providers to do this?
We have a contingency plan, and we are trying to ensure that we get the service providers in the most appropriate manner per the legislated policies procurement-wise.
Nondomusa, the reality is that there are many residents in Joburg right now who do not have water because of problems already. They haven't had water for weeks, and now this on top of it. They are going to be furious about this. Could this not have been avoided?
It could have not been avoided, and we apologize profusely for the inconvenience. You indicated when we started that Midrand, larger parts of Soweto, do not have water currently. So over and above that, we are now faced with this unprotected strike. It is heavy on Johannesburg Water, I won't lie.
I have to be honest, you sound defeated at this point because is there a remedy in place? You know, I understand the contingencies to try and find people that will assist you, but for people who don't have water, is there any potential of their water being reconnected in the short term?
Reconnecting is not the challenge. The challenge currently we're faced with is
filling of reservoirs.
Getting water,
yep.
Filling of reservoirs, and actually making sure that residents get water through the water tankers, which we currently are doing. But obviously, it won't replace recirculated water and water on taps. So the shortage is not about reconnecting in the main right now. It's about making sure that reservoirs fill up and supply is adequate.
Okay, so let's talk about the state of the network at the moment. If you look at Midrand, if you look at areas around, I know Melville, Parkhurst, there's problems, and then Soweto you mentioned as well. What is the status of the system?
Would you like the status of the system across all the
if you can, in brief, yeah, just take us through it.
In brief, if you could just give me a moment.
Okay.
Just with the commando system that supplies your Melville and Western, Coronationville and all of those areas, the Crosby Reservoir is low, but it is supplying. The Brixton Reservoir is supplying fairly, but of poor pressure. The Brixton Tower is very low. The Brixton Reservoir is also very low, but it is supplying. We've bypassed Hestel 1 as well as Hestel 2 as we've been communicating. The other system in Soweto, also let me start with Randbeck systems, are very much low, particularly those that are in the Linden, Bangalow, Kensington, the Cosmos City Reservoir. Honeydew is also very low. Bushkop is very low. The only healthy system in that space is Linden 1, which is supplying fairly. Actually, Bangalow is now supplying adequately from the reports coming in now. Honeydew is also supplying adequately. There's quite a list of them. Okay. With the Deep South system, that one is heavily affected. We have no supply for the Orange Farm Reservoir, having closed overnight. The Annandale system is also very low, critically low actually, same as Lowley. Lenasia is supplying adequately for now.
Thanks for taking us through that. I think for people listening, it does help to get a sense of where the system is at the moment. And then how close are you to getting your workers back into operational work? How are those talks with SAMWU going?
Some is currently caucusing. They'll get back to us in the next hour or two. We should be able to report before the end of business today.
We'll stay in touch with you, Nondumiso. Thank you very much, Nondumiso Mabuza, as a spokesperson for Johannesburg Water. And you can see she sounds defeated because you already have a situation where your system is under strain. There are thousands of residents who do not have water at the moment. There are leaks, those can't be fixed. And then you've got the SAMWU workers who have gone on an unprotected strike because they want bonuses. They want bonuses. For what do they want bonuses? It's ludicrous. You actually cannot make this stuff up. So we'll try and stay on top of that for you in terms of which systems are being not repaired but being filled and being alleviated. But for those of you who don't have water, I know it's incredibly frustrating. I've got people sending me WhatsApps. Mandy, Crown Gardens hasn't had water for days either. Richard, Joburg municipality might struggle to entice service providers to work for them, as there's a good chance that they won't get paid. That's a very good point as well if they're trying to get service providers. There's so many messages from people in different areas. We are trying to get SAMWU on the line as well. Their spokesperson isn't answering, but it would be really good to hear from them about why they feel that now is a good time to go on an unprotected strike.
A very good afternoon to you, Mandy, and 702 lenders at large. For me, this Joburg Water unprotected strike, it's a typical case in point of how we as a country, we are ill-disciplined, and it also show lawlessness. How do you engage in an unprotected strike while your organization is supposed to be providing water? That water is like the basics. It is the basic, and you go on to, regardless of how many issues you have, but to go on just to engage on an illegal or unprotected strike, it just show how we're just doing things in the country. It's not looking good. There are so many suburbs right now without water.
The average person will hear their boss say, quick one, 3,476 times during their life. And it's never a quick one. In fact, it's a very long one that forces you to cancel your anniversary dinner at the restaurant with the Michelin star chef and then work through the weekend only to arrive on Monday and be told that the client has decided to go in a different direction. Life taxes you. So invest tax-free from as little as 250 Rand per month.
Coronation. Trust is earned. Coronation is an authorized FSP.
Alcohol drowns our hope and fuels our pain. Our streets are flooded. Our families are breaking. Women and children are not safe. Alcohol kills 100 people in South Africa every day. For more information, visit www.truecostofalcohol.africa. Increase excise tax on alcohol.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
It amazes me, these workers that are paid exorbitant amounts. If you look at industry standards in the private sector, they want more money, they go on strike, they sabotage the water. Do you honestly think that we will even care to let you have an increase? No. As far as I'm concerned, fire the lot. Get competent people. There are thousands of people without jobs. They'll be happy to work for a job where you get a salary, medical aid, pension fund, housing. Really, these people.
Yep, that's the situation at the moment. Joburg Water staff, a large portion of Joburg Water staff on strike because they want better bonuses. It's ludicrous at the moment, and I've calmed down to a mild panic now about this. But just it is what it is. Anyway, continue sending those WhatsApp voice notes 072 702 1702 072 567 1567. Yesterday we spoke about this shooting of what is believed to be a drug dealer in Windsor, not Linden, as I was taught, and the involvement of the Action SA's Ekurhuleni mayoral candidate in this matter, Xolani Khumalo. So now the JMPD is saying that they were not involved. Remember, we spoke to the spokesperson of Xolani Khumalo, and he said that it was a joint operation with authorities. So were authorities involved, or weren't they? Dr. Mcini Chwaku is the Joburg MMC for Public Safety and joins us now. MMC, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Was this an officially mandated operation, or was it something else?
Good afternoon, Mandy, and good afternoon to your listeners. At the JMPD, we don't know anything about this operation. None whatsoever.
So, in other words, JMPD wasn't involved in this operation?
No, it was not involved, Mandy. None whatsoever. And it's just so surprising that the Times Live, they drag us into this thing. What happened is that after the incident happened, there was a call from the communities on 10111, and the police were alerted that there's an incident that happened and the community is becoming rowdy. And then the police went into the area and they requested the backup of JMPD to come because of the community uproar there. So we've been dragged on something we don't even know. Normally, what used to happen back in the days, when the guys from Sizokuthola, they will come and talk to JMPD, TRU, or maybe even that time when they had a good relationship with SEP. But look, this is a tip-off we have. We will request a backup of the law enforcement officers, because when you do those kind of operations, you must have an operational plan so that you can cover yourself in court. Yeah. Well, but on this one, that's why we've been dragged. That's why I've been released. This statement that the JMPD were not involved. Even the Gauteng police, they were not involved.
Yeah, that was my next question. So as far as you're aware, was there any legal authority that was involved? So SAPS, Gauteng police, anyone as far as you're aware?
Nothing, Mandy. The police have said that they were not involved. They were called after the shooting. We were not aware as a law enforcement officers of the tip-off that the guy from Doctola had. We're just being called by the members of the community that there's an individual that has been shot, and then when they discovered that it was the Mojalove crew making a video there, or they're actually shooting a film. So normally, that's why I'm saying that normally you will get people tipping off, and then we have to do an operational plan to cover ourselves on those incidents and what is the approach on that area, because the drug-related busts are very, very dangerous by nature. You can have people dying on those things.
So one of the messages that came through very strongly on the show yesterday was that many people feel that the police are failing to deal with drug dealers, and that's why we're resorting to alternatives like TV shows or like what Xolani Khumalo is doing here, or his team has been doing. Is that fair?
Mandy, give me a tip-off. All these tip-offs that I've got, I've been doing drug busts, you know that. And then also last week, I got a tip-off of illegal alcohol. Mojalove approached us as a JMPD. We did the operational plan, and I was with them on the side supervising what can you do and what you cannot do. So Johannesburg is different from the other areas because we've got a Joburg Technical Unit. You've seen us acting on drug bust, on cell phone interceptors, everywhere. But on this tip-off from that guy, from those guys there, that crew of October, they were operating on their own mandate, of which I don't know. They can even tell you many, even the guys from Mojalove, when they contact us on JMPD and they tell us what is a tip-off, because, we do assist. We're there with that lady. There's a lady called Kamo. I was with Kamo at the pre. We busted an illegal foreigner with the alcohol. You can't on those ones, and that the they understand and they know exactly what to do when they get a tip off. And we've been doing draft busts with them 2-3 years back. But now with this one, we did not know they were acting on their own accord. So they must not drag us into this thing. And the worst part is that after that incident, we are being told that they got off their cars and ran off. Why they did not go to the police station and report it? Now, what the implications of this now is that the security company that has fired the shot, whatever the person who fired the shot, the police must take all those firearms and do what? A ballistic. Because now they did not go and report about this is the incident happened, this is the firearm that is shot in the individual. It's that you need to tell the law enforcement officers, and you must not. So the problem is that they even ran away.
Right.
They did not actually went to the police.
Thank you very much. We're out of time, unfortunately. That's the Joburg MMC for Public Safety, Dr. Mkini Chwaku, speaking to us there, saying the JMPD police were not involved in that incident involving Xolani Khumalo.
The Midday Report.
Thank you very much for joining us today. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
O'Sullivan wants Parliament to wrap up his testimony by early evening, and Harith moves to acquire low-cost airline flagship. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Lamini. Forensic analyst Paul O'Sullivan has requested that Parliament's ad hoc